Alright, what is going on, friends? Sean Don coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have Zach Weinstein, the newest member of the Grip and Rip Throws Squad. Grip and Rip Gang, whatever you want to call it. Zach just signed up for the online technical coaching package, so he's able to text me video whenever he wants, and also included is an in-depth technical analysis to get him started. So if you are hearing this and you think, man, that sounds great, I could definitely use some more technical feedback, then go to my website, gripandrip.co, and check it out. Check out my coaching services page. Go sign up for something, in-depth technical analysis, online coaching, throws programming, all that stuff is at your disposal. I'm here to help. It's outdoor season now, full swing. Conference championships coming up in a few weeks, national championships for the college and NAIA and all that stuff at the end of May. So yeah, now's really the time to sign up. I've been saying this for months. Honestly, if you're going to sign up now, you're a little late, but better late than never. So, gripandrip.co, all right, go check it out. Let's take a look at Zach's video. He sent me a few videos. This is the most recent, so I chose that just by virtue of it being probably what technique looks like right now at this moment. You did send me some other videos, Zach. 2016, your competition throw. I think your competition throw actually looked pretty decent in terms of orbit. Legs and lower body got a little wide, as we kind of were discussing via text. The 20-pound throw was looking pretty solid. And then I think you sent me another 16-pound training throw, something like that. But yeah, I think overall it looks pretty consistent. But like I said, this is just the most recent, so we're going to use this. And then watching your throw just looks a little impatient, a little tight, and then just looking at your lower body, like you said, your feet get a little wide, your feet could be tighter. That is a symptom of tension within the body, and I think it's a symptom of you pulling back and being impatient. So we're going to break this down and help you out, brother. All right, so you're starting maybe a little offset, little tiny offset. Your feet are very narrow here. So one thing I do want to say, watching all your videos, is that the more narrow you start, I think you do step out a little bit, I think. Let's go through just to double check. Yeah, so you get a little bit wider. But the more narrow you start, all right, does not mean your feet are going to be tighter in the turns. I don't know if you ever thought about that. Maybe I'm grasping at straws here. But yeah, you don't need to worry about your feet being so narrow at the start. I don't know if you think about that consciously. Maybe you like it. That's cool. Doesn't matter. I was always a fan of taking like a shoulder width stance, maybe a little bit wider. Provides a little bit more stability. The biggest thing though is I see that with this narrow start, your legs are just very straight. You got to kind of think about the lower body as kind of the suspension of the throw. Like if you're riding in a car and your legs or the suspension is stiff, you're gonna have a stiff, bumpy ride. If your legs are too soft, if your suspension's too soft, you're going to also have a bumpy ride. So you want to have just a little bit more bend in the legs. We'll see what happens as you go through, but this is just very preliminary thoughts. So maybe widen up the feet a little bit, get a little bit more stable, and then think about kind of like a quarter front squat position, both in terms of width and then also in terms of your bend in your knees. You want to sit the hips down a little bit, not back. You don't want a back squat position, you want a front squat position. But just more bend in the knees, better suspension might help out, connection, all that stuff. So, like I said, a little offset here. Left foot looks like it's at 0. As you bring the ball forwards, you step back, and then your hands are out away from the body. You keep your hands out away from the body, which is good. As you go through into the first wind, looks pretty solid. You're opening up, connecting, or opening up towards 270 as the ball goes through 0. You could maybe think about being a little bit wider on this preliminary swing. As you can see, the ball comes kind of close to your foot, but that's small details. Bringing the hammer forwards across through 0. As soon as it goes through 0, you start opening up. With this step back, it allows you to open up and connect earlier, which is good. I like that. You're shifting your weight over your right side as the ball's back behind you, which is great. As the ball goes through 180, as it goes through 270, hands are out away from the body. Shifting weight over your left, and then you step up just as the ball goes in front of you, which is pretty good. I think that's probably the ideal time to do that. You step up, hands out away from the body, shift weight to the right side a little bit, and then as ball goes through 0, opening up a little late. So just like you did in the first turn, where as the ball goes through 0, you start immediately opening up towards 270. I think that's good. And the second wind, as you see, ball goes through 0, and then you don't really start turning back until it gets to about here or so, until it gets about 90. So you're a little late on opening up to connect in that second wind, going into that second wind. So as soon as ball goes through 0, think about opening those shoulders up and trying to connect with ball back behind you at 180. Like I said, just looks like a little bit late. And you see this left elbow kind of come a little bit high. But you are settling into the throw pretty well as it goes from 90 through 180. Looks like you're getting down the legs a little bit. So scratch what I said earlier about you not really getting in a good front squat position. You do kind of sink down here. That's sink in a good way. You bend your knees. You get into your legs, which is good. You can see good left side tension coming across. Right elbow looks a little bit down, not a huge issue yet. But you can see yourself sitting down, countering. Ball wide out to your right side. Good tension coming across that left side. And then maybe it looks like I said, you're sitting down and back a little bit. And then it looks like you could use your right leg a little bit more. It looks like you kind of don't quite shift over your left. You don't quite keep that left side as stable as it needs to be. And this is more so in this throw specifically. The other throws I saw, it looks like your left side was a little bit better. But the big thing here is, like, as the ball's coming through 270, like right about here, you want to be using your right leg to stabilize laterally. So it's hard to tell in this 2D plane of this video of my computer screen to really iterate it. But use your right leg to stabilize laterally. You're a chiropractor. I have to imagine you have a pretty good idea of movement and all that stuff. So you use your right leg to stabilize this left side, load this left side, especially as the ball is out to your right. So you kind of want to be opposite of it in a sense. Because as the ball goes through 0, you can see right about here, you can see this kind of wonky position where your toe is here, your knee's there, hips back a little bit. Hips not that big of an issue on entry, but the big thing is the left shoulder. You can see this left shoulder is kind of back near this left heel. You want to get this left shoulder out over this toe as the ball goes through 0. And like I said, you need to do that by right around here, using this right leg to push this left shoulder, stabilize that left shoulder out over the left toe. Because your entry just looks a little bit tight. As you go through 0, like you're more or less with it. You're leading with the left side a little bit. You can see this left side kind of shifting back. Like I said, that left side is just, that left shoulder is not getting out over that left toe. And then with that, you see your feet split in 2 different directions. Left foot's pointed 45 after 0, right foot's 45 before 0. Shoulders, hips, everything's square, but your legs are kind of split. And like I said, that left side stability isn't quite there. So that left side's pulling back a little bit. And then you can see as the ball goes left, you see that left leg lead it. Left leg's pointed at 90, right foot's still back at 0. So that right side's just a little bit behind. And then with that left side pulling back a little bit, you're a little tight as the ball goes around the left. So you're kind of just suffocating the natural movement of the ball as it goes around the left. And then you see this right side a little bit behind. And then with that right leg being a little bit behind, instead of it turning with the ball, ideally you want to kind of see, in my opinion, you want to see the right femur kind of turning with the wire as it passes. You see it's like I said, it's a little bit behind, 30 or so degrees. So the right leg's a little bit behind. Left side's kind of leading the throw, kind of taking over. So that right foot gets a little bit, or sorry, right leg gets a little bit behind, gets a little wide. And then you see a side view would be interesting to see what your left knee does. But it looks a little stiff. Like I said, it looks like you pop up just a little bit here. You can see if you look at the shoulders and the chest, you rise up just a little tiny bit. We'll see how that comes into play later. But ball getting in the direction of the sector, right foot kind of, you're not over-rotating totally, getting a little direction on that right foot. Maybe a little over-rotation once you finally settle, looking at how close the right foot is to the back of the circle compared to the left. It's about even. I'd like to see a little bit more direction forwards, and like I said, I think that comes from the left side, kind of taking over an entry and not setting up that left side stability as good as you could. But pretty solid catch position. Looks like you're landing maybe not totally flat-footed on the ball of the foot, and then foot kind of settles down. But through this double support, you can see, let's see, left heel grounds right about there. left heel grounds, and then left side, you see that left side pulls back before the ball gets to zero. This is the big issue here. This is the big issue in your throw when I watch this video. This left side shifting back before the ball gets through zero. Like I said, left side instability. You also see this left shoulder down a little bit compared to the right. So your right side's on top, left side's under. If we keep those shoulders level, you keep that left side out and more stable as the ball goes through zero, you'll have a longer orbit around the left. Your single support movement will be smoother, quicker, relatively speaking. Because right now, like I said, I just see that left side pull back, and it looks like your direction is kind of going back towards this left sector. And even as the throw goes on, I think you'll see that you kind of track down this left sector line. So yeah, left side pulling back, shifting back, and then you see that right side kind of disconnected still. Like I said, it's a little bit back behind the ball and the wire. Right foot comes off plantar flexed, another sign of the right side being a little bit behind. And then as you go into this next catch, we could also just work on more of an A skip position, like knee up in single support. It's kind of secondary to just connecting that right side and controlling the left side, rather calming that left side down. But that right side just looks a little lazy as it comes off. And I think that comes from earlier in double support. Like I said, it's not really, like it turns with it up till about there, but then the left side kind of takes over and it gets behind. So you catch, once again, decent catch position, balls in the direction of the sector, hips are more or less underneath you, maybe a little bit back away from it. Once again, even with the feet, tiny bit over rotation. You catch, left heel comes down, and now this is what I'm talking about where that left side stability isn't there. Left heel grounds, left shoulder is kind of in the middle of your feet. And then, once again, before the ball gets to zero, you can see yourself pull up and back with that left side. All right, you can see this left leg extending. Left leg extends up through the hip, up through the shoulder. So you're pulling back as the ball gets, before the ball gets to zero. All right, so left side's taking over the throw. Left shoulder's down again. You work the ball out. You can see that left leg leading. You can see that left knee, left foot kind of opening up 30 degrees, 40 degrees ahead of the ball. You see this right leg a little bit behind once again, shortening the orbit around the left. And then your right side is a little bit more connected here. Once again, could be a little bit more knee up, A-skip sort of position, foot up over the calf as opposed to down around the foot. That would help tightness of the feet of the turns, in the turns. But you catch, ball in the direction of the sector again, tiny bit of over rotation in terms of you're landing even instead of a little direction into the sector. Not bad. Catch position. And then as you turn, still a little kind of flat-footed, like you're really not up on the ball of the foot. That right ankle looks a little bit weak. And then same sort of thing here. And it kind of progresses. It gets a little bit worse as the throw goes on. That left heel grounds, left knee, left foot, left toe, left heel, and then this left shoulder is kind of once again in the middle of the body. So you're not quite keeping that left side as stable as it needs to be, and that just happens right in the entry, and it kind of gets worse as the throw goes on. So you see more of that left side pulling back as the ball goes through zero right here. And you see it's kind of coming, your left arm's kind of coming across the body now. Left leg's leading more, right side's a little bit more behind. You see his left arm coming across the body here, leading. Right side trying to keep up with it. And then when you go to catch, not shortest, shallowest catch of the throw, because that left side pulls. It shortens the orbit around the left, which makes your single support movement slower, quote unquote. Rather, the orbit is shorter, which means the time it takes for you to pick up and put down your right foot is about the same. So if the orbit's shorter, then it's going to land later. And that's kind of what's happening here. So you got to keep that left side stable, get the ball long around the left, get that stretch, get that tension. And then when you catch later like this, that left side has to pull to keep tension with the ball. The body wants to feel stable. You can see as the ball goes through zero, still a little bit left side lead, but you can see you're getting back on the ball well in the finish. You're getting hips up into it. But you can still see that right side's a little bit disconnected and that left side's kind of taken over. So that right side's just, like I said, it's not really as efficient as it could be. So yeah, like I said, your other throws you sent were pretty solid, I guess. They were better than this. This is by far not by far. That's I'm talking out of my ass now. But yeah, this is the least good looking throw that you sent me. So probably the best one to do an analysis on, but it's also the most recent, so also probably the best one to do an analysis on for that reason. So double whammy. But yeah, big thing is, like I said, this first or second wind you could open up and connect earlier, and then left side stability as it goes through entry. So right leg pushing up through that left shoulder, get this left shoulder out over the left toe, and get the ball longer on the left, right in entry. And that should fix a lot of things if we can get you to do that. All right. Level shoulders, like so the left side's down a little bit, pulling back. Just kind of missing direction because of the stability or lack of stability. So, like, as you can see, like I said, it kind of gets worse as the throw goes on. An object in motion stays in motion. I say that a lot in a lot of my technical analysis videos. The left side pulls and leads, and you kind of drag a little bit. So, yeah, we will be working more closely over the next couple months, so we can talk about this over text if you have any questions. And if anybody else out there would like technical analysis, go to my website, gripandrip.co, check out my other coaching services. If you want some more frequent technical analysis, sign up for the online coaching or get a throws program. Once again, it's a little late, but we can still make some things happen. So thank you for watching. Until next time, Sean Donna signing off.